They say some moments in life sneak up on you. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. It was a quiet Thursday afternoon, the kind where the sun spills lazily across the kitchen floor and the whole house feels like it's holding its breath. Edward was at the clinic. The housekeeper had left early. I had just finished a call with the vineyard manager when I noticed the laundry basket by the stairs. Caleb's laundry, he always forgot. That boy, 22, but somehow still so absent-minded. I didn't mind. It felt good to do little things for him. A way to stay close, I took the basket to the laundry room and began folding, humming softly to myself. His clothes smelled like cedar and something vaguely citrusy, his shampoo probably. My hands worked without thinking until they reached a pair of navy sweatpants. Crumpled at the bottom, that's when it happened. At first, it was just a ridge beneath the fabric. My thumb brushed along it absently. A seam, a cord, but the weight, the shape, it was unmistakable. My breath caught. I froze. My fingers hovered for a second longer than they should have. Long enough for my cheeks to flush. Long enough for something deep within me to stir. A pulse I hadn't felt in years. I dropped the pants like they had burned me, backing away from the counter, but it was too late. The image had already been burned into my mind, thick, heavy, wrong. My heart was pounding so loud I half expected Caleb to walk in and ask if I was all right. I would have told him I was fine, but I wasn't. And that moment, that one tiny accident, would become the first stone in an avalanche I never saw coming. On paper, my life looked enviable. A sprawling home nestled in the rolling vineyards of Napa Valley. Rose bushes lined the winding driveway. The scent of lavender drifted through open windows in the spring. Every room bathed in golden light, with high ceilings and handcrafted wood beams that whispered of old money and timeless elegance. I was 48, married for nearly 2 decades to Edward Hartwell, a well-respected cardiologist, the kind of man who was always shaking hands, remembered names at charity dinners, and never raised his voice. People often said we were lucky, that we had it all. And I suppose, in a way, we did. But what no one saw was the silence behind those grand oak doors. The way his touch had become clinical, obligatory. A hand on my back at parties. A peck on the cheek before bed. I used to measure love in the heat of a gaze. The press of a hand at the small of my back. Now it felt like Edward saw through me, not into me. We slept in the same bed. But it might as well have been miles wide. I once joked that I was starting to feel like a dress on display. Elegant, well-kept, but behind glass, never worn, never touched. Edward chuckled at the time. I don't think he realized I wasn't entirely joking. And then there was Caleb. He wasn't ours by blood. Edward's best friend and his wife had died in a car crash when Caleb was 16. We took him in without hesitation. He'd been quiet back then, withdrawn, broken, but over the years, he grew into something striking. Tall, thoughtful, with a quiet strength that lingered in the way he carried himself. At 23, he was finishing college, still living at home while he saved for grad school. Sometimes I'd catch myself watching him too long at dinner, noticing the sharpness of his jawline, the way his eyes didn't flinch when he spoke. It wasn't desire, not yet. At least that's what I told myself. For most of his teenage years, Caleb called me Eve, not Mom, though people often mistook me for his mother at school events or around town. I never corrected them. In some ways, I liked it. It made things simpler. It made things feel real. From the day we took him in, I loved him the way a woman loves a child who has lost everything. I cooked his favorite meals, reminded him to take his allergy meds, kissed his forehead when he left for school. I watched over him, not just out of obligation, but out of something deeper. A bond that formed in silence, in grief, in shared space. But something began to change. It wasn't sudden. Came quietly. The way seasons shift before you notice the leaves falling. His voice deepened. His shoulders broadened. The softness of boyhood replaced by something sharper. More solid. Girls started calling. At first, he'd shrug them off. Then he stopped mentioning them altogether. He grew quieter, more distant. Not cold, just guarded, like he was carrying something too heavy for his age. I tried asking gently, everything